The glory revolves around our main character Moon Dong-eun, an aspiring student whose dreams of becoming an architect are crushed when she's brutally abused by Park Yun-jin and her gang, who includes Jae-jun, Lee Sara, Hae-jung, and Myung-oh. The first episode is hard to watch, as we witness Dong-eun suffer the wrath of her abusers. From physical violence that almost takes us to the limit, especially when Dong-eun is burned by a curling iron. The violence and injustice is even more magnified by the treatment she receives by her guardian, a school teacher, as well as her parents, who happily accepts the cash to keep the situation hush-hush. Abandoned, ignored, and left with nothing, Dong-eun hits a breaking point, but she chooses to live, which begins Dong-eun's journey for vengeance. We fast-track many years later as she struggles to make ends meet, the traumas of her youth fueling her vengeance as she manages to become the homeroom teacher of Yesol, the daughter of Park Yun-jin. She meets several people who will become instrumental to her. Hyun-nam, who happens to be employed by Yun-jin, becomes her detective/spy, following and taking pictures of the group's every move. And then there is Yoo-jung. The man who has fallen head over heels for Dong-eun has decided to be her executioner. You see, Yoo-jung has suffered his own trauma with the murder of his father by a sociopathic killer. He has a collection of knives, where he imagines and performs his own revenge one day. Let's dive a bit deeper into what happened so far after watching episode 8. Who killed Myung-oh? What will Do-young do after he finds Yun-jin inside Dong-eun's apartment? How will Dong-eun's allies play a crucial part in her revenge? And where is So-ee's body? We can safely presume that Myung-oh was murdered by Yun-jin. After finding out that she was the one that murdered So-ee, it is likely that Myung-oh went ahead to threaten Yun-jin. We see glimpses of his demise, as well as a shot of the green shoes. Yun-jin also has a scar on her foot, which might have been an injury she suffered during the altercation. Remember, Yun-jin has her mother, as well as some corrupt cops on her side. We won't know until part 2 comes out in March, but it's likely we will receive a few flashbacks as the story unfolds. Now let's talk about Do-young. It is apparent that he is starting to come to grips with the truth that Yesol might not be his daughter. After confronting Dong-eun at the Go Park, we are left with a final scene between him and Yun-jin inside Dong-eun's apartment. Do-young now knows the dark truth about his wife's past, but what will he decide? Dong-eun's ultimate goal is to see Yun-jin suffer, isolated from those close to her, and turn her world upside down. Do-young will eventually choose to side with Dong-eun and become one of her growing list of allies, as well as give us a love triangle alongside Yoo-jung. Speaking of Dong-eun's allies, we have Hyun-nam, who works for Yun-jin as Dong-eun's spy in return for killing her abusive husband. It's also worth noting how important Hyun-nam is for Dong-eun. She might be the one that allows Dong-eun to keep whatever semblance of her humanity that's left. Don't forget about her hacker friend Go Sung-hee and her former school nurse who is now working with Yoo-jung. But what about Yoo-jung? There's a very dark side to him that we've only gotten a glimpse of. Will he be the one to deliver the killing blow to Jae-jun? It feels like Jae-jun is the one wildcard who is too crazy for Dong-eun to handle, and that's where Yoo-jung comes in. At the end of episode 8, Yoo-jung is at the hospital to inspect the body of So-ee, but she is not there. Where is So-ee? We can only presume that Yun-jin was able to get her crooked cops and mother's connections to steal So-ee's body, or she left to be on Singles Inferno. Which is a blow for Dong-eun and her plans. As for part 2, which comes out in March, what should we expect to unfold as Dong-eun continues on her path for vengeance? Yun-jin will not go without a fight. Eventually, she will be driven mad by her isolation as Do-young and her daughter leaves her side. Jae-jun probably dies at some point, and Lee Sara and Hae-jung betraying her as well. But what do you think is going to happen in part 2? Leave your predictions in the comments below. As always, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy K-drama and K-pop content. This is what we're watching this Sunday. We'll see you in the next one.
관심이 없죠. 난 그래도 그대 내